Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today I'm really excited. We are going to be talking about constitutional silver, 90% US silver, as a way for people to get involved with silver stacking. And we're going to be going over the pros and the cons. I made out a pretty comprehensive list in terms of how I think about these. I have a fair amount of experience dealing with silver. And just, before you get into the video, just so you know, I'm a big fan of collecting 90% silver or stacking it. I think that in the current environment, it's the best one to go with. In previous environments, I've told people buy American Silver Eagles, but there is a situation unfolding at the moment where this is really the type of silver that I would recommend getting involved with, and I'm going to explain my thesis in the video. There's also definitely some downsides, though I don't think that they're too big, that I'm going to be going through so you really have a comprehensive picture of what you should be considering here. But let's find out what my full thoughts are in the rest of this video. All right, so for the 15-second version that goes on top of the 5-second version of use 90% silver as the way to go, I would just say that this is really low premium, highly recognizable, liquid silver currency that can be obtained cheaply. And I'm going to go through each of those things, but as a little background, this is also what people refer to as junk silver, constitutional silver, 90% silver. It's coins in the United States that were produced before 1964, or before 1965, 1964 and back, all being silver for the denomination of dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Nickels, it's a separate issue. There's a few ones made during the World War II years. We're not going to get into that. We're just focused on this sort of stuff. So here we've got quarters on one hand, then we have Franklin half dollars, 1948 to 1963. Then up here there were 1 year, 1964, of Kennedy half dollars. There's also Roosevelt dimes. But these are really the bread and butter of silver stacking, silver investing. And the reason that I like them so much is because it's very low premium, meaning that you can pay very close to what the value of the silver inside the coins is when you purchase the coins. And there's been other situations in history where things like 1 ounce silver rounds are very easily accessible and the premiums are low. But right now we're seeing, $7 premiums where that's, nearing 25% of the value. I would argue on most of this sort of thing, premiums probably are not going to be too much over 5% over the silver value that you are paying for. And that is a really favorable condition because not only are you paying low premiums, there's other types that you can pay low premiums for, but it's extremely recognizable. It's, this is the standard for silver coins. They're going to have a silver edge. They're going to be US silver. So that's really how everybody that's involved with silver a little bit knows that this stuff is going to be silver, and it's easily valued. The way that people look at it is they look at it as a spot multiplier because there's 2 times as much silver in the 50 cents as there is in the 25 cents, and there's 5 times as much in the half dollar as there is in the dime. So you can value it by the face value. So if it's trading at 20 times face, this would be a $10 coin, this would be a $5 coin, and a dime would be a $2 coin, because if you can get to $1 of face value, what you could have spent it for, then you can multiply that by 20 in my example. And being so easily valued and traded is a huge thing because you're purchasing it, but I think some people, when they buy silver, they lose sight of, if like with anything in investing, maybe you're holding it in a prepping situation or for some other reason, but if the price goes up enough, you're going to want to sell it. And, this works well in a prepping situation. I'll touch on that later. But this is really easily sold, and you're not going to take a huge loss. An example would be 40% silver. You can buy it for probably a little cheaper relative to spot, but you're going to get crushed when you sell it. There's very little demand. It's not known nearly as much. And so that's kind of the concise version. Now, there's additional positives. And then in the prepping, I'll just touch on that briefly. That's not as much of something that I cover on my channel, but with that sort of lens, this is recognizable. That's what's going to be important in those situations. it's U.S. coinage. On the backs, they're saying United States of America, what they're for, and it's clear that they're different from the clad coinage because of their silver edge. I think, as you can see in front of me, it's easy to complete collections. Franklin half dollars, no key dates. This set, the only key dates is the 32D and the 32S, but you can put together a set like this, for very close to the silver value and collect that way. Same with the set of the Franklins in front of me. The Kennedy is just 1 year, but I think that that's something fun to consider. And if you want a little bit of a numismatic challenge, also, by the way, Roosevelt dimes, there's no key dates there. You can go with these. So you get a little bit more than just a silver investment. There's also some fun collectability aspect. There's also a big potential for cherry picker errors, which I do a lot of other content on. Not going to focus on it in this video, but it's, minor varieties that are found on some of these coins, and they're on many of the different dates. There's tons in the Franklins. There's a lot over here. It's doubled dies. It's repunched mint marks. There's a lot of specific to the coins ones, but, you can delve into that. But any of these silver coins you can pay and you can look for, and people find them relatively frequently if they have a trained eye. And when I say frequently, they're not super common at all, but you can find them. And they have far greater potential for value beyond their silver. But a lot of people are not aware of these or don't have the time to go through them. So there's definitely added layers beyond, that's not something. People aren't looking for varieties on American Silver Eagles. People don't care about them nearly as much on any of the foreign coins. Bars, that's not the case, or rounds, that's something pretty unique to 90% silver. I think that, a side point, this is really nice history. So that's kind of cool. Not a huge point there, but this is U.S. silver. So, I'm pro history. So it's kind of fun to be able to see the history of American coinage on these coins. And then lastly, you can actually spend these. So if silver goes way down, each of these could be spent for 50 cents, each of these for 25 cents. And that's really not a big pro, because that would be a horrible situation if the silver got devalued, but maybe a full asteroid or something has a massive amount of silver, and all of a sudden, you've got 50 times more silver supply. I think that silver would get hurt pretty bad. So, in that situation, you'd be a little bit better off with something like this. Now, there are some drawbacks, and you're going to see that they're pretty not significant, but, maybe one of them will be significant. One of them is, if you pass this sort of thing down, it should be pretty clear that it's silver, but especially if you have a roll, often these are stored in rolls. That's a much more compact and concise way to store these. Somebody who you say you pass away and somebody gets the collection and it just kind of looks like coinage, every once in a while somebody goes to the bank and just, trades in their coinage just for the face value and gets crushed. Whereas if these were like a silver bar, nobody's going to, people will immediately know what it is. But that's more of a function of making sure that people know what you have when they're very close to you. Or, you can label, this is silver, do not change this at the bank. There's significant value. That can be easily avoided. It's also not 0.999 silver like a lot of the bullion type stuff is. So it's a little bit more challenging to trade it by weight. It's going to be as a face multiplier. Though there's enough tools out there, like my own site, coinmeltprice.com, that show, that can serve as calculators. You can understand exactly what's in there. So it's not something that's going to trade by weight, or, it can be challenging if you want to just swap this for, a bar of silver or something like that. And then lastly, this is not something I know a ton about, but there are some potential tax disadvantages. I think that for some reason, I don't know if these are approved to go in like an IRA or some types of retirement accounts. But I don't think that was really a big concern for a lot of the physical stacker types. And I personally don't view that. I think that if you get into gold and silver, that it's not something to put in your IRA. That's my own personal opinion. That's just entertainment. It's not investment advice. But for me, I'm not considering this as a big drawback when I give my advice to say, or my entertainment in saying, this is 90% silver. I kind of like this as a way to get involved with silver stacking, and the potential tax disadvantages long term, not concerning to me. The fact that they're 90% instead of, pure silver, not concerning. And I am certainly going to have my coins in a way where people don't inadvertently exchange them for their face value. So that's not an issue to me. So this is a really good, well-positioned way to get involved with silver at the moment. And I would strongly recommend that you do this. This is my number one way to stack silver at the moment. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and definitely subscribe to the channel and connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a website, treasuretownYT.com, where you should go so that you can learn more about coins as well as what's happening on the channel and possibly find a place to sell your coins and collectibles. I also want to talk about some of my other projects like coinmeltprice.com, which shows precious metals prices as well as the melt values of coins containing those precious metals, both US and world. I also have coinsmetalscards.com, which will develop into a full marketplace as well as a news source for coins, metals, cards, as the name might suggest. And then treasuretowncoins.com, which long-term will be my coin dealing entity separate from the channel. And lastly, whatsthegrade.com, which will be a stickering service for already certified collectibles where you can get a approval or verification of the grade on the holder. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you on some of my other videos.